Hello everybody and welcome to the Real Live in the UK. I'm James and I will be your activity guide today. For anyone who hasn't joined the previous live streams, then let me introduce myself. So my name is James and I am a Londoner from London in the UK. For around 8 years, I was teaching English to people like you in East Asia, so mainly in Japan. But these days I live in a city called Bath and I currently work at a university. But today I'm your activity guide and I am going to take you to some of my favorite spots in the city I now live in. And I am going to take you on a really exciting city walk today. So where are we going to go? We are going to start at one of the most beautiful scenic spots, not just in Bath, but in the UK. After that, I'm going to take you over a very special bridge and head towards a museum, but also an afternoon tea room. And we are going to share some wonderful moments together, having afternoon tea and showing you and telling you more about our tea culture here in the UK. Okay, so we're going to learn lots. And we're going to, well, I'm going to ask you guys as well to help me decide on what to eat at the afternoon tea shop, at the cafe. Okay, so we are going to now start the real activity, the city walk. But before we do that, I want to ask you a question. Are you willing to stick till the end of the class? Will you be here at the end? Now tell me. 1, absolutely, James. 2, possibly, not sure. Or 3, perhaps. Okay? I'm going to give you 3 seconds to get your answers in, guys. 3, 2, 1, go. Absolutely. Brilliant. Hopefully you've all gone for absolutely. If you have, give me a smiley face or a thumbs up in the comments. I want to see whether you went for absolutely, guys. Give me that thumbs up. Give me that smile. Give me that energy I need to give you the tour today. Okay, brilliant. Well, now I'm excited to say it's the beginning of the city walk. So guys, it's time for the city walk. Let's go. So I'm going to turn my camera around now so you can see my view. And you might have heard this earlier when I was introducing myself. Here we have Pulteney Bridge and the Weir. So this is a very iconic spot in the city and in the UK actually. And so here we have the Weir, which is down here. And then over there is Pulteney Bridge itself. Now, Pulteney Bridge is famous for a number of reasons. One of them being that it's one of only 4 bridges in the world that has shops on either side of it. So on shops on both sides of the bridge. There are only 4 other places in the world where this is true, or 3 others including Bath, and that is Florence, Venice, and Erfurt in Germany, slightly less known than Florence and Venice. So it's a very unique bridge for that reason. And as we'll see in a minute, as we're crossing it, on either side of the bridge, there are cafes, there are shops, there's lots of places to go and have a bite to eat. And I will show you that in a moment. It's a great place really to relax and enjoy kind of the ambiance, the atmosphere of this area of the city. So let's take you forward now and let's just quickly get a quick panning shot. Just want to show you what the rest of the bridge looks like as well. And down that way, here we have some, these are called narrow boats, these boats here, and people actually sleep along the river here. As you can see, these are actually people's homes. So in the UK and in Bath, there are many narrow boats like that one we just saw, where people sleep, live, and often go to work by boat. So that's a bit of a unique thing about the UK and some other parts in Europe too, actually. So as we go along, we're going to head now to the bridge. And as I said, this is a quite unique bridge, not only because of the way in which there are shops either side, but also because of the architecture, the design, the style of the bridge is very 18th century. So it's a very typical 18th century bridge here in the UK. And it's really in fitting with the rest of the city. The bridge itself has been in a number of famous films. The most famous scene was actually in the movie Les Mis. So in Les Mis, this is actually, if you have seen the film, where the famous suicide of the character Javert was filmed. So the actor, I think it's Russell Crowe actually, jumped from this bridge and killed himself, suicide, into the water. Now, in real life, I think the bridge is not quite high enough for that, but it's only a movie, guys. It was only in the movie. So you might, if you've seen Les Mis, recognize the bridge here, because it was, in fact, where it was set. If you haven't seen the film, go and watch it, and look out for the bridge, guys. You can't miss it if you do go and watch it. Okay. Let's just pause here for a second and give you another shot of this very iconic area in the UK, and let's do it from behind as well. Okay, and again, what you can see down there is the weir, and this is what I mentioned earlier. The weir, which is spelt W-E-I-R, another difficult word in English to spell, I know, and this is a horseshoe weir. And what do you think this kind of horseshoe weir is for? Have a think. It does look nice, so it looks beautiful. It adds to the look of the area and of the river, and it really is quite a striking image when it's contrasted with the bridge. But also, it's important because it regulates the flow of water. So it manages the flow of water to ensure there's kind of no floods in the city. So this was actually built quite recently, the weir, only about 30 years ago, compared to the bridge, which is maybe 300 years old. And that's because the local council needed to manage the water to stop flooding, So this horseshoe weir, and it's called a horseshoe weir because, yep, exactly, you've guessed it, it's shaped like a horseshoe, the foot of a horse, manages the water and stops flooding. There isn't much flooding in the UK, but it can occur sometimes. So it's important that we have that managed and it's safe for the local population. Okay. Let's keep going and just go enter onto the bridge now. And just to show you what it looks like once you're there. Also, we can check out the different cafes, the different shops and so on the bridge on either side. So let's go and cross the bridge now, guys. Let's cross the bridge. Here we go, here we go. The big moment. So as we go along, you can see here, for example, we have a traditional style bakery and coffee shop with lovely views of the weir through there. Here we have a traditional style English Cornish pasty, which has meat in the middle and a crust on the outside, so you can hold it without getting it dirty. Keep on going, and on the left-hand side here, we've got, for example, a kitchen, a clothes shop. Here we've got a flower shop too. So here you can get your plants, your flowers, all on the weir. Okay, so right now, guys, let's just pause, because right now we are on the bridge. We are on the bridge. Okay, and so whilst we're enjoying the double shops, the shops on either side, and this cute little plant shop here, I want to ask you a question. Okay, and this is the first question in the quiz today, to make sure that you're listening and understanding all the information I'm sharing with you. So the first question is, what makes here, Pulteney Bridge, so special and unique? Okay, is it A, it has shops on both sides of the bridge, or B, it has a lane for bicycles on the bridge, nice lane for bicycles to make it safe to cycle? So A, it has shops on either side of the bridge, or B, it has a lane for bicycles on the bridge. Okay, I'm going to give you, as always, 3 seconds, guys. 2, 1, and answers, please. Now, if you said it has shops on both sides of the bridge, on either side, you are correct. So do put that smiley face, or do put that thumbs up in the comments to share with everybody that you are on the money. You are on the money. And on the money means you are absolutely correct. If you are correct about things, you are on the money. You are on the money if you got that correct. So put the smiley face in the comments. Now we are going to continue crossing the bridge to get to Great Pulteney Street. Okay, to get to Great Pulteney Street. Now you might be thinking, James, you said this is a very popular street. Why are there no cars on this street? I tell you why there are no cars on the street. Because cars are not allowed to go over the bridge. Only, good timing, taxis, that's a taxi, or buses can go over the bridge. So in fact, if you ever drive over the bridge, you will get a £30 fine. You will get a £30 fine, so be careful. Actually, I was fined last month because my wife drove over the bridge. She did not know about the rules, and yeah, we got a fine. So you have to be careful. Do not drive over the bridge. Okay. So they are very strict in the UK about driving fines, and there are cameras everywhere. There are more CCTV cameras in the UK, I believe, than any country, certainly in the West. So yeah, be careful. So here we go. We're going to keep going now, guys, and head towards Great Pulteney Street. And this, to be honest, is probably my favourite street in the UK. It's a stunning street, it's a wide street, and it's a beautiful street. I'm sure you will like it. So let's keep on going, because what we're going to go up to next is the local Bath rugby stadium. Now, we're not going to go in the stadium, but there is a nice viewing point from up here where you can look over the stadium. And on a match day, the street is very busy with people trying to have a sneak peek at the rugby. So have like a cheeky look, watch it from afar without paying. You can call that a sneak peek or cheeky look at the rugby. So let's go have a look at the rugby stadium if we can, before we head on to Pulteney Street and then onwards to the afternoon tea room. So whilst we're walking there, just to also share that rugby in the UK is one of the most popular sports. It's probably second only to football in terms of popularity. I don't know whether it's popular in Korea. Please let me know. Do you play rugby in Korea? Is it a sport that you guys play at school, or maybe You know, on the weekends, is it popular? There we go. Hopefully you can see that quite clearly. This is a great viewing spot. As you can imagine, on the match days, this area is full of people watching some free rugby. You know, a bit cheeky, because tickets in there are very expensive. But here you can still watch half the game and you don't have to pay anything. Okay, that's the rugby, guys. If you have watched rugby before, do type it in the comments. Let us know, what do you think of rugby? Do you like it? Is it for you? Do you find it interesting? Or maybe do you prefer football? Let me know. Put it in the comments. Me personally, I prefer football. Or as we say in the UK, footy. I like footy more. But many people like rugby. Or, as they say in the UK, rugger. So we have footy means football. We often say watch the footy. And for rugby, people might say the rugger. I'm going to go watch some rugger. So there we have some abbreviations, common popular abbreviations in the UK. Do you prefer rugger or footy? I would love to know. Right, now we're heading towards Great Pulteney Street. This is a wonderful street. It does connect to the bridge. I'm going to risk my life for you guys, and I'm going to walk into the middle of the road so you can get a better view of where we are. Don't worry, there are not that many cars around because, as I mentioned, the bridge is only for taxis and buses. Okay, here we are. Let me get to the middle where they have this quite grand water fountain. And this way is the bridge. So we just came from. Let me pause for a second. This way is the bridge. We've just walked over the bridge. And now, guys, we are in the middle of a roundabout. Hopefully I will survive. And over this direction is where we're heading. Okay, so it's Great Pulteney Street. So let's walk down there now. And I think we're in luck. The sun is starting to kind of shine, which is great. I thought it was going to be raining, guys, but it's quite sunny, although still quite gloomy. Gloomy sunny. It's a classic British combo for the weather, as you can see up there. Nice dark clouds with a bit of blue and a tiny bit of sun. Okay, here we are, guys. We're now walking down Great Pulteney Street. On this street, it's mainly residential, so it's mainly people's houses. If you look down here, let me get a better shot. It's mainly people's houses, although there are some hotels. One of the hotels has hot springs in the bottom. So the hotel we're about to pass, if you go and you book a room there, you can actually use the hot spring using the same hot water you get in the Roman baths. From my understanding, it's one of only a few hotels in the city that has access to the hot springs. So that's just on the left-hand side. If you come here at Christmas time, it's very festive. So you can imagine all the street lights are Christmassy. The hotel has Christmas lights all around it and a massive Christmas tree outside too. Very scenic, very atmospheric, I would say. So let's have a look. If you can just see in the far distance, that is actually where we're heading. That big building at the end is where we're going to be in a minute. But first, I just want to take you down this lovely street and kind of let you enjoy the atmosphere. I really, really would encourage you, if you ever do come to the UK, to walk down the street yourself. I think you would have a great experience enjoying the general atmosphere of this street. It's got a real nice vibe to it. A vibe or an atmosphere, kind of the same thing. And here you see, they're putting up new flowers for spring. So in Christmas, it's Christmassy, it's festive, which is an adjective to mean Christmassy. But right now they're putting up new flowery, spring-like decorations. Yeah, nice. Is that for spring? Nice, I like it, seasonal. There we are. Okay guys, where are we headed next? Well, I'm glad to say, because I'm a little bit hungry, we are now going to head towards the cafe for some afternoon tea. So we're going to head to a famous cafe in the city for some afternoon tea. So I would like to just introduce you to a bit of information really about, I guess, afternoon tea generally and tea drinking in the UK. I'm sure many of you know that we drink lots of tea here in the UK. It's by far the most popular drink after water here in England and in the UK more generally. Some people find it strange that we like to put milk and sugar in our tea. So we will have our tea white or black, but most people have it white. And if you say, I will have white tea, it just means with milk, An afternoon tea, which is where we're heading now, is a British tradition of sitting down for an afternoon tea treat of tea, sandwiches, scones and cake. So often you can have high tea, which is where you will have all of these kind of delicacies. So you will have cake, sandwiches, scones and tea all at the same time. Now this kind of tradition, or this way in which to enjoy tea, was only introduced in the UK in around 1840. In around 1840, it was introduced by Anna, the 7th Duchess of Bedford. Okay, so although we have been drinking tea for, a few hundred years, she was really the person to introduce the tradition of sitting down and enjoying the tea. Why did she do it? So the Duchess, and basically a Duchess means that she was almost part of the royal family. So she was in the kind of the upper echelons of society. She was, in the richer parts of society. And she would become hungry at around 4 o'clock. So around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, she would become hungry because back then it was very fashionable to eat dinner late, maybe 8 p.m. or even later. So after lunch around 12, she would get hungry around 4. And she thought, I know what, let's introduce, or let's have some bread, some butter, some tea. And from that moment onwards, afternoon tea was born. All thanks to her, the Duchess, introducing this idea of enjoying bread, butter and tea. And so from then on, this habit kind of started to grow across the UK. And again, more particularly for the posher parts of society. So posh means rich, elegant, the upper class or the upper classes. And so she would invite her friends to join her, and it became a fashionable social event. It wasn't just to make sure that you could get through and you weren't hungry until dinner. It was also, it became an event in which, you can meet with friends. And in 1880s onwards, so in the 1800s, they used to be, they became almost a process to it. So, the people in society would wear tea gowns, which were gowns specifically for drinking tea. They would wear gloves, they would wear hats, they would dress in their Sunday best. When we say Sunday best, we just mean your best clothes. The nicest clothes you have, we would say your Sunday best. It doesn't necessarily have to be on a Sunday. But tea gowns became very popular and became almost a trend. People were wearing tea gowns, they were going for afternoon tea, and they were just enjoying I suppose the whole process of drinking afternoon tea. And to this day onwards, even now, people still enjoy afternoon tea here. It's generally, to be honest, females more than males. So often you'll get people who go on hen parties. So women who come here to Bath to celebrate a marriage would often go for afternoon tea. Even now, you would often see big groups of women in afternoon tea rooms across the cities in the UK. It's seen as quite an elegant, ladylike thing to do even now today in the UK. So if you do come to the UK and you see big groups of women, often they're on hen parties, which is when they're just before they get married, they meet up, and they will come, they will enjoy afternoon tea, and they will have a great time socializing together. But they don't wear tea gowns anymore. They don't dress up in special clothes. Okay, guys, it's quiz time. It is quiz time. And my quiz for you guys is, why did the Duchess of Bedford start having afternoon tea? Why did she start having afternoon tea? Is it because she did not want to miss her lunch? Or is it because she would become hungry around 4 o'clock in the afternoon? She was feeling peckish. She became hungry around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay, let's have a look. Ready? I want your answers in 3, 2, 1. Action. Now, if you got that correct, I want you to give me a little tea emoji in the comments. Please give me a tea emoji, because you want to get in the right zone, in the right frame of mind, because we're going for afternoon tea. So put a little tea emoji in the comments, guys. And also, I want to teach you a word here, which is very useful to describe that feeling of becoming a little hungry. So I mentioned in the answer that she would become hungry at 4 o'clock. We can often say peckish, peckish, P-E-C-K-I-S-H. No, peckish means a little hungry. So, oh, I'm feeling peckish. Let's go for some afternoon tea. Give me some examples before we go on to the real activity about becoming peckish. When do you become peckish? Not really hungry, but a bit. Okay? Right, guys. Okay, just to show you where we are now. So here we have where we're going for afternoon tea. This used to be a hotel, but now it is a museum with a beautiful cafe in the back. So I am going to try and cross the road without being run over. And on the way, I will also tell you a bit more about the typical afternoon tea menu. Okay, the typical afternoon tea menu. Oh, go, go, go. So, okay, and so what do you eat and how do you enjoy afternoon tea? So even today, we have followed the tradition set by the Duchess hundreds of years ago. So what it usually involves is an array of dainty, crustless sandwiches. Now, dainty means small and elegant, small and kind of ladylike almost. And an array means a range of different types, an array of dainty sandwiches. And with the sandwiches eaten, you then enjoy scones with clotted cream and jam. So scones, which is a traditional British bread, which is a little bit dry on its own, but with the cream and the jam, it's a perfect combination. After that, or during that moment, you might also dip into and enjoy some sweet cakes and pastries. So often afternoon tea is a large selection. It all comes together, but normally you eat it in that order. You eat the sandwiches, then scones, and finally the pastries and cakes. So it's It's quite a heavy, light snack, you could argue, in a way. For the lady, she wanted to have a snack at 4 o'clock. It's pretty heavy, really, heavy going. And often you will enjoy it in a quaint tea room, So you'd have it in small tea houses, which you can still find in the UK. They're very traditional. So they're still to be found in the UK. You get quaint tea rooms where you have like maybe the older generation enjoying the tea, but also you can have younger people, as I said, who come on hen parties, who are enjoying the quaintness and the traditions of drinking afternoon tea. Now, quaint means kind of old, maybe not old-fashioned, but old and traditional, we can say, for quaint. Is there any sort of quaint kind of places where you are? So whether that's tea room, or do you have a different culture, perhaps a traditional style of food that you eat in a quaint building? Let me know. Okay, just to show you where we are right now, guys, as well, is just here, right outside now, the museum that used to be a hotel. And before we go in and start to order, I want to ask you a quick question to make sure you've been listening carefully. So, guys, question is, which of these two or three, maybe even, let's go for three, which of these three is typically included on an afternoon tea menu? Okay, which of these three are typically included on an afternoon tea menu? Sandwiches, scones, almonds, clotted cream, and jam. Okay, and remember, there are three correct answers. Only one is not eaten during afternoon tea. I'm going to give you 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second, go. Now, if you went for almond as the incorrect answer, as the one that we don't eat, you are correct. So we only eat sandwiches, scones, and clotted cream and jam from those options. If you got it correct, give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs up, guys. You know what to do. And while we're doing that, let me just show you where we're headed. So like I said, you have this lovely building here, very grand. And we're actually going to go to the cafe, which is in the back of this building. So in the back of this building, which looks over exactly where we came from, over here. There we go. There's Great Pulteney Street towards the bridge. And we've come a long distance, guys. We've been on a journey together. And now here we are. Right. We're going to go now behind here to the museum cafe, because it's time for the real activity. Let's do it, guys. So the real activity today is going to be in the museum cafe, the garden cafe here at the museum. And I want to order tea and scones. Tea and scones. I'm not going to have everything. I'm not going to have the sandwiches. I'm not going to have the pastries and the cakes, because I'm trying to get fit for the summer. I need to get beach body ready, as people say nowadays. So I can't eat too many cakes, but we will order tea and scones. So we're going to look at how we can ask for options of tea, and also how to kind of ask for a recommendation when you can't decide between things on a menu. Okay, so these are going to be useful expressions you can use. And here we are, just to show you. We're going to go into here. It's a nice little gazebo they've set up. And we're going to have some afternoon tea, scones and tea. Okay, so before we go in and we practice the expressions, I want to teach you a very important word, which is savoury. Now, savoury is food that isn't sweet. So for example, a sandwich is savory. You know, any sort of food or snack that isn't got that sweetness, that sugar, we would say a savory snack or something that is savory. Now, obviously the opposite is sweet, but we don't really say salty. We say savory because it's not always a salty dish or salty food. So for example, a sandwich isn't salty, it's savory, okay? So savory is used to describe food that is not sweet. So make sure you remember that word because it's very useful. Okay, so today I prefer to have a savory scone, not a sweet scone. You can get sweet scones or you can get cheese scones, savory scones. I want to have a cheese scone or a savory scone today. But let's see what they have on the menu. And so before we go in, let's just practice some key expressions that we're going to use today. The first one is, I'm torn between something and something. Which would you go for? So today I'm going to ask, or I'm going to say to the waiter or the staff member, I'm torn between the cheese scone and the plain scone. Which one would you go for? Now we use torn between to indicate you haven't yet decided. It's a difficult decision for you and you're trying to, it's almost a dilemma. You're trying to decide between two options. So we're going to use that expression today. It's a very natural way of just saying, look, there are two things here I really want. Which one would you recommend? But it's a more natural way to say that. I'm torn between the cheese scone and the savory scone. Which one would you go for? Okay, I use this a lot. Whenever I go out to a restaurant, there are always so many things I want to eat that often I will say, I'm torn between this pizza or this pasta. Which one would you go for? And they always would tell me, you know, oh, I would always say the pizza's very popular, they say, so I would go for the pizza. And there I have it. There I'll eat the pizza instead of the pasta. Give me an example in the chat, guys, of using I'm torn between. Give me two things maybe you are torn between right now, at the moment. Two things that you are thinking about, that you're torn between. Yeah, practice it in the chats, guys. Going home later, I'm torn between either walking or taking the bus. I'm not sure which I'll do. It probably depends on the weather. If it's sunny, I will walk, and if it's raining, I will take the bus. I'm torn between taking the bus or walking home. I'm torn between the pasta and the pizza. Which would you go for? Torn between the cheese scone and the plain scone. Which would you go for? Give me some more examples, guys. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to quiz you now on a key word we just covered. Okay, when you're still deciding what to order between two things, how do you say it? A, I don't want to order anything. B, is there any sweet or savory scones? Or C, I'm torn between the tea and coffee. Which should I go for? Or which would you go for? Or D, I'm starving. I'm starving. So if you're still deciding what to order between the two, what could you say? I don't want to order anything. Is there any sweet and savory scone? I'm torn between the tea and coffee. Which one would you go for? Or I'm starving. Okay, I'm going to give you 3 seconds, guys. 3, 2, 1. Now, hopefully you went for C there. C. I'm torn between tea and coffee. Which one would you go for? If you said, is there any sweet and savory scone, sorry, that would be asking just, do you have something in stock? Do you have something in stock? If you say, I'm starving, that just means I'm very, very hungry. So the best answer out of those would be, if you wanted to, you couldn't decide between two things, would be I'm torn between. I'm torn between A and B. Which would you go for? Okay, guys. And the second key bit of vocabulary today is decaffeinated. Decaffeinated. Or sometimes we just say decaf. Decaf for short. Now, decaffeinated, you might have heard before, but if not, it just means tea or coffee or any caffeinated drink which has had the caffeine removed. So if you have decaf tea or decaf coffee, you're having tea without any caffeine or very little caffeine in it. Okay, it's probably quite healthy to drink decaf tea late at night. I would often drink decaffeinated tea late at night to help me sleep. Likewise, I would drink decaf coffee if it's past 2 p.m. in the afternoon. And you should too, because sleep is important. Give us some examples. When do you drink decaf tea? And when do you drink decaf coffee? Let me know. Whew. Okay, and I want to teach you an expression now, which I'm wanting to use again in the afternoon tea shop, in the cafe. And the question I'm going to ask is, do you have any decaffeinated options? Do you have any decaf options, decaffeinated options? And they might say, yes, we have decaf tea, we have decaf coffee, we have decaf, etc. And so this is basically asking, do you have any coffee or any drinks that don't have any caffeine or have had the caffeine removed? So do you have any decaffeinated options? Do you have any decaf options? So let's give me some examples, or try typing that. Let's try typing that question in the comments, guys. And then I'm going to quiz you. Oh, the sun is still shining here. We are blessed. Okay. Good work, guys. Good work. So, the next question, and this is the last question of the quiz, is what would correct the sentence? What is the correct sentence for asking for a different option at the cafe? So a correct sentence for asking for a different option at the cafe is A, do you have any decaffeinated coffee or tea? B, how long does it usually take? Or C, how can I help you? Okay, so a correct sentence for asking for a different option at the cafe is, do you have any decaffeinated tea or coffee? How long does it usually take? Or how can I help you? And I'm going to give you 3 seconds like always, guys. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, and if you said, do you have any decaffeinated tea or coffee or tea, you get the point, guys. Give us a thumbs up. That would be asking, do you have, any decaffeinated, any tea or coffee without caffeine? If you said, how can I help you? It would be, you would be asking the staff how you can help them to do something. That would be a bit unusual. If you go into a restaurant or a coffee shop, you don't normally say to the staff, how can I help you? They will say that to you. It will be the opposite way round. And if you say, how long does it usually take? You would be asking, how long will it take to make the food or to make the coffee? Now, what's the length of time I should expect for it to be ready? So maybe if you're in a rush, you're going to work and you go to a coffee shop and you ask for a coffee, you might say, how long does it usually take? Kind of saying, I'm in a hurry, so I need to know quickly how quick and how fast you can make the coffee. Okay, guys, that's enough of the quizzes and enough from me. Now we are going to do the real situation. We are going to order tea and scones, and we're going to enjoy them together using the new expressions we studied today. So let's head into the cafe this way and find a nice seat where we can sit and enjoy the ambiance of the cafe. So here we have it, the gardens. We'll find a nice quiet spot where we can enjoy hopefully a cheese scone or a plain scone, because I prefer savoury scones really myself. You can see here it says table service, so it means we can sit outside in one of these spots here. I think that spot looks pretty good to me, but we will see. We need to hurry, yeah. Sorry, we have to wait. This service is lacking. Hello, mate. Can I sit outside? The table service. Oh, yeah, perfect. Thank you. Just me, yeah. Cheers. Oh, the menu. Thank you. The menu. So let's have a look. Here we are. Freshly made scone with jam and clotted cream, or with butter. So they only have one type of scone, but the options are jam with clotted cream or with butter. I'm torn between the two. So let's ask the staff which they have. I'll also look at the drinks. Okay, so they've got coffee, tea, but I wonder if they have any decaf, any decaffeinated options. Oh, wait. Hi there. Looking at the scones, do you only have the plain scone?
Yeah, plain scone.
Only
like a fruit one.
Do you have cheese scone?
No.
Just savoury. Can I have the scone, please? But I'm torn between the clotted cream or with the butter. What would you go for?
For me, I go with clotted cream and jam.
Okay, cream and jam.
Like that one for $3.75. But if you prefer butter, you can take butter and jam as well.
Oh, you mix it up.
Yeah.
So what you would go for the cream and jam? Okay, I'll follow your recommendation. Let's go for that. And for drinks, do you have any decaffeinated options for hot drinks?
Decaf coffee not today because
Okay.
they don't have the delivery today.
Okay.
So we have only decaf tea.
Decaf tea?
Yeah, or if you prefer not caffeine, maybe like hot chocolate or some juices.
Okay.
Fanta means like Victoria lemonade or orange juice lemonade.
Okay, I'll go for a decaf tea then, please.
Okay.
Cheers.
Anything else for you?
That's all, thank you. Perfect. Cheers, buddy. Okay, guys. Update. So they only have plain scones. So we went for plain scones and I asked a few questions. I wondered, did you hear the kind of questions I asked? So what did I ask? And then what did he say? Have a think. So what I asked, I asked them, I said, they only had plain scones, but what I asked was, I said, I'm torn between jam and cream or butter. What would you go for? And he actually said jam and cream. So I followed his recommendation. And then finally, I ordered decaf tea. Now it looks quite busy here. So let's move on to the review because I think it's going to be quite a long time until that scone arrives. So today, guys, we have been on a journey together. We started off at Pulteney Bridge and we looked at the weir, and we looked at the bridge with shops and cafes either side, on both sides of the bridge. And it was the only bridge in the UK and only one of 4 in the world with shops on both sides. After that, we crossed the bridge and we then went to look at the rugby stadium and had a sneak peek. We also then went across the bridge and went across the street and headed over here to the museum cafe, where we ordered tea and coffee, scones and tea. Key expressions, key words that we've learned today, we have covered many. The key expressions for ordering food were, I'm torn between butter or cream and jam. What would you recommend? And also, do you have decaffeinated tea? Oh, that was quick. Perfect timing. That was much quicker than I expected. Thank you.
Welcome.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you, mate. Appreciate it. Okay, quickly, guys. Before we go, I have the food here. So here we've got the scone, like this. We've got the cream, which is in here. Jam, of course, classic. The jam comes in tiny little jar like this. Look, can you see? Little jar of jam. And then you've got the tea as well, which comes in a teapot. So we've got the tea, the decaf tea, that you can pour out like so, to enjoy with a bit of milk, like this. And you leave that for a bit. Milky tea and a scone. Lovely. So there we go. So we also asked about decaffeinated tea, and now I get to enjoy it. Before I go, I would like to know, have you reached your goal today? Did you make it until the end? Tell me, mission completed. I was a bit late, but I did it. Or I will try better next time. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go. Anyone who completed their mission, good work. Hats off to you. I respect you. Now, just to quickly let you know before I tuck into my scone, next week we are going to do another city walk, and I'm going to show you another part of the beautiful city of Bath. I look forward to seeing you then and taking you on the real activity as well, where we'll be talking about working from home. And I want to find out, do you like working from home? Until then, that's it from me. I'm going to enjoy my tea and scone, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.